Welcome back. Another episode, Track World News Podcast. Your host, Colin Waitsman. No Noah Williams here today. He's been having a little bit of a outage for his internet and other stuff going down. So solo episode today. We're going to be talking about all the craziness that has gone down within the sport of track and field. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and let's jump into it. So let's start things off with Noah Lyles versus Letsile Tebogo. This was the biggest race of the weekend, one every single person across the world, across the track and field industry has been super interested in, super invested in over the last couple of days. If you took a look at Noah Lyles' stories and what he has been posting on social media, he deleted everything off of social media, and it's been like only had black and white photos that had been posted, and just essentially that zero dark 30 kind of mindset, I guess you could say, that people go into. You'll see that similar thing with other professional athletes, but so he's starting to get locked in. And then we saw Letsile Tebogo when he was in his interview, or when he was going through the press conference. Some people were asking him about Noah Lyles and saying, yeah, he's a really great storyteller, and it's just clearly just not excited to answer questions about Noah Lyles, which I get. Like, hey, you want to ask questions, like ask what you're asking to him. Like, don't ask it to me. Like, if you want to talk to Noah Lyles about this, then do that. Like, I'm not him. But so they're just building up the storylines, the tension between the two, especially with his race before the previous weekend, where he's putting the crown on his head, and so everyone's like, okay, what's he going to do? What's he going to be doing here? And it was a great showing for both athletes from a competitive standpoint. Neither of them running in completely insane times, but I think we're overshadowing or overlooking just how impressive a 1988 1996 could potentially be. Of course, it's not the 1976 that we saw the week before, but still an impressive win by Noah Lyles. So big time W for him. He maintains his record of being undefeated in his season openers that he has over the course of the 200 meters since, 2019? We lost to, I think it was Michael Norman. And so a good win for him there, especially with all the injuries and other stuff that he had been going through. And so to now come through and to get this win, it's a statement, I'd say, for him, of just, hey, how his training development and getting ready for the championship is going to go. Because keep in mind, he has a bye, so he doesn't have to be ready and in peak form in a couple weeks like many athletes have to. He's getting ready, for September, and when they're going to be having the world championship. So while it may be like, oh man, it's kind of close, it's really not. He's got a lot of time to go through and do this. And the win for me, that when we're looking at that race, it started off, well, it was very close the entire way, I guess you could say. Noah and Letsile are neck and neck to begin with. It looks like Tebogo might have gotten a little stumble out the blocks when he first got started, but both starting off very, very strong. And then starts to peel away. We know how Noah does when he's in these 200 meters. He's very strong closer and is able to be at the top when it comes to finishing these races. And we obviously didn't see that in 2024 at the Olympics because of COVID and all that other stuff that happened with him. But this year and this race, completely different. Like, he was back into the form that Noah typically is, and that's what you're really looking for, I guess you could say, as a fan, if you're a fan of him, to see how he responds and how he comes back, opening up in the beginning, middle-ish of July. And so it definitely would breed confidence if I, looking at that race, of being able to come through with a win, because it's the time didn't matter as much to me as the results of who it is that you're ending up beating, because this is a guy who at the Olympics took a race that almost everyone had guaranteed for you to win. You went out and you won the more challenging of the double for you. And then it was, it's the 200. You should be able to walk away with this. And didn't, ended up getting in third place. And so for him to come out here the next time that they're going head to head in this 200, be able to get a win, that is a great, I would say, psychological victory, as well as just a regular victory for Mr. Noah Lyles here. And so coming home with the win, I if I'm him, it's like, yeah, like the race and we achieved what we wanted to, but coming home with the victory, I'd say is much better. And so looking forward to what he's going to be doing at the London Diamond League, which is in, I guess, 4 days from when this is coming off. So it's happening this upcoming weekend. Looking forward to it, to seeing what his 100 is going to be. So we've seen the 200, and he's going to be going up against Kashane Thompson. So this previous race he went in against the Olympic champion in the 200. Next race he's going up against the second place finisher and now the sixth fastest man over the course of 100 meters in Kashane Thompson. So he's gonna be going into pretty major races that he has, and this can really define, okay, how is he going to respond, and what's going to happen with these races, because there's been a lot of massive times, and the track world's been disturbed over the course of the last few months, and he's not been in that mix. Is he going to be dropping something big? Is he going to come home with the win, or could it be the exact opposite, where, hey, maybe he loses and comes in second, third, fourth, loses to some competitors, and how's that going to play into what the world championship is going to look like? Because right now, Kashane Thompson looks really good for winning that 100, and right now, and before this race, Letsile Tebogo looked really good to win the 200, and so this is changing a lot, where now he is throwing his hat right back in the mix of, yeah, don't forget me, I'm still the previous world champion in the 2, I'm still the reigning 100-meter Olympic champion as well. Slow your roll, slow your horses. So looking forward to seeing how this race is upcoming gonna come out. So to recap of just how what do I think, how I think Letsile Tebogo should take this race versus how do we think Noah Lyles should be taking it. So for Tebogo, I mean, he's had a very busy last few weeks of going to Prefontaine, and then now obviously coming over into to Monaco in France, right? So a lot of travel, a lot of track meets to go through. First in what he did, the 100, right, and then the 2. So a lot the 200, yeah, because he ran the 1976. So a lot of track that he's been going through, and a lot of traveling, and so it was a downturn for him, unfortunately, against some really stiff competition. But I'm not going to completely overlook what it was that he did last week and say, oh, he's cooked, he's not looking great. No, he still is in a really good position. I think this loss gave a mental edge to Noah going into the remainder of the season and the next time they potentially face off. I'm hearing that they may be potentially racing in the 100 at the Diamond League. We'll see. I haven't confirmed anything there, but that's what it looks like individuals are saying. So we'll see if they're going to be going back to back. That would be another big time win if we could see them, go head to head in the 200, and then let's run it back in the 100 the next week. That would be really good, and I think that would be a must win for Tebogo if he's coming into that 100. Because if you don't, I see no shot where Lyles loses to Tebogo if he gets the edge over him in the 100 in a back-to-back weekends of like, man, I'm coming off of being hurt. You had the world lead, one of the fastest times in the world or ever, and now I'm dropping back-to-back wins on you. Oh yeah, it's over. So if they do go ahead and do the 100 next week, or this week, I guess you could say, then that's a must win for Tebogo. But we'll see if he's going to end up doing it. There have been some reports, but I'm sure it'll be some more information coming out of that later. Other stuff going on within the track world. So let's go on over to the Ed Murphy Classic. So these meets are exciting ones to go through. Obviously, not your Diamond League where they have tons of people that are coming out, and big names are stacked, all around. But you're able to get still some pretty solid performances here, and we saw that in droves. Before we get to the great performances that we saw coming out of the Ed Murphy Classic, we got to talk about the Sidney McLaughlin pulling out of the race and not being able to run the day of. So for those that didn't know, Sidney McLaughlin was slated to run the 400 for the Ed Murphy Classic in Memphis, Tennessee. Obviously, one of the biggest names that's going to be competing in that thing, and something that a lot of people were I'm sure. Really looking forward to seeing her compete in. And then she addresses in social media, probably, what was it? It came out at around, what is it, like 12 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock, something like that. And she wasn't racing at 9. So somewhere in the afternoon around lunchtime. And then, when her eventual race would have been, so about 8 or 9 hours before she was going to run. She said that she had some sort of sickness. Let's see, I'll just quote it because I have it right here. So she said, out of respect for fans and those who are tuning in, just wanted to update you all. Since traveling back from Prefontaine, I've been dealing with sickness. My hope was it would improve enough to run today. Unfortunately, it did not. Good luck to everyone at Murphy Classic. Looking forward to USA's. Much love to you all. God bless. And so that's what she had said out to the fans. And so unfortunate. I mean, those when you're sick, you want to feel good for when you're racing, but I feel real bad for the fans here as well. Of There were tons of people, I'm sure, that had bought tickets to go to the track meet and wanted to watch Sydney run because obviously, she's a big draw. So I'm sure there's tons of people that bought tickets just to see her compete, and then to pull out that day, like, it's unfortunate. And I don't know what this illness is. Obviously, I don't think anyone ever will, but it's like I wonder, like, what levels of sickness this is, because I'm sure there's tons of fans that would have loved to see you compete. I mean, I'm sure she was probably, throwing up, feeling sick, all that sort of thing. Like, if that's the case, then yeah, stay out. It's not worth it. But if you had the ability to compete, you had the ability to run the 400, like, man, would have loved to see it as a fan. Like, I paid all these tickets, I drove all this way, maybe even flew all this way to potentially see you compete, and for it to not happen, like, it's unfortunate, especially when you mentioned, like, yeah, I've been feeling sick the last few days leading into Prefontaine. Doesn't look great. All right, well, how was it yesterday? Was it dramatic change, or the day before? Could we not mention something the day before? Or was it trending well and you thought it would take another step and it just didn't? So it's unfortunate timing. I mean, you definitely would have loved to, and it would have been great to see if a potential American record could have gone down. I know that she's chasing that, and that's something that she wants to go through, and so I'll be interested to see coming the World Championships, coming at the U.S. Championships, because I'm sure she's probably just going to be running in the Open 400 since she has the bye in the 400 hurdles. I'm sure she's probably going to be going for it there, where that's where she'll try to get the American record now, because it seems like obviously she's not going to be competing in anything else until then. So that was unfortunate, but the world moves on. We'll be all right. It's fine. We've seen her competing more than we have in any other year in the past with the Grand Slam stuff and everything. So usually we don't get this level of Sydney competing, but it's a treat this year, so that's always good. It's always good. Some other stuff to get into from the Ed Murphy Classic. Obviously, the headline has to be the young high schooler Quincy Wilson dropping a 44:10 U18 world record, fourth fastest time for a U20 athlete as well, and the fourth fastest time in the world, as well as the fastest time in the United States in the 400 meters. So a lot of recognition for the young 17-year-old high school student coming out of Baltimore, Maryland. And the way that he's running is proving a lot of people wrong. I know there's been a ton of individuals that say, hey, you're running too much. This isn't the best way to do it. But the way that I see it, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always received. And Quincy is doing something that we have never seen an athlete ever do in the history of track and field. And that is be an elite level athlete at 17 years old. And so if you do what every single other 17-year-old does, or every single other professional athlete that is 10 years older than you do, it's not going to work, because you're different than everyone else. And so treating him like this is fine by me, because, like, oh, you're running too many races. Yeah, that could be the case. If you're 25, 26, you may not want to be doing all of these races. Or if you're just a regular high school athlete, it could be the case. But keep in mind, like, most high school athletes, when they're competing, are doing some competing twice a week in, dual meets, and then at the invitational meets, and you may be doing 2 or 3 events throughout that. And so it's not completely out of the ordinary, and he's not doing anything extraordinarily off from what other athletes are doing. And so now he ran here, and then he'll do the USA Championships, and I'm sure he may have 1 or 2 meets in during August, which would, just to keep him strong, and then eventually going into the World Championships potentially if he does end up making the team there. And so it's they're proving that the plan that they have is the right plan each step of the way. And so I obviously big Quincy fan, and the way that he's doing it is very impressive. Of just he really dominated a lot of that race throughout most of that time, of where he was up front for a lot of it. Like, he started off, got out really hot, and I thought when they were going right around the backside of the 200 meters, when he hit the 200-meter mark, I was like, oh man, this ain't going to be good. He's going out way too fast. There's no way he's going to be able to keep this up. Because keep in mind, he's going up against some stiff competition here. Elijah Godwin was in that race. Bryce Steadman was in that race. Stephen Gardner was in that race. So they had some pretty stiff competition that was going into that competition, or in that race. And so I was like, I don't know if this is going to end up working for him. I thought the race strategy was going to be a bold one. I didn't think he could hold up. But once again, we got to remember, the strongest part of Quincy's race are the last 100 meters or so. That's when he is not falling off like other athletes are. He's able to maintain that speed through strength, heart, determination, whatever it is that you want to call it. And so once he came off that bend and it was neck and neck, it's like, oh God, this is where he's the strongest, and he's in a really good position to, potentially take over here. And that's what he did. He ends up bringing home the win, 44-10, and just showing that he's able to go up against any level of athletes, high school, college, pro, it doesn't matter. He's just on a different level than everyone right now. And so it brings me to a few questions that I think about for what the future holds, or just what we have for Quincy. One, what does the future hold from a collegiate standpoint here? Of, do you go to college? Do you go and do things professionally? So from what I've gathered from athletes that have turned pro right out of high school, there's been a few that I've been able to connect with. It seems like a lot of them have believed and had the thought that they'd wish they'd gone to college. Now, none of them are at that level that Quincy is right now, where they were all fantastic in their own right, and really and great in their own right. But it's a difference from running a few like insanely fast times, and consistently being a top 5 person in your event in the entire world. That's what Quincy is right now, essentially. He's been top 10 400-meter runners in the world over the course of the last 2 years at 16, 17 years old. Very different than, hey, I've had some really good 100s, some really good 200s, some really good 1500s, whatever it may be. He's doing this on a consistent basis and consistently proving that he can be at this level. So it is a little bit different. But a big note, and every time that I've ever talked to Quincy, or if I've ever talked to Coach Lee, or when other people have ever talked to either of them, the one thing that they mention, they bring it up every single time, is that for Quincy as well as for Coach Lee, they just want it to be fun. They just want Quincy to have fun with what he's doing right now. And I think that's the right way of doing it. Of like, hey, go to homecoming, go to prom, like do these races, do all of these things, enjoy where you're at. There's going to be plenty of time for you to have where you're taking this insanely seriously. You're going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to be 16, 17, 18 again. It's not going to happen. And so enjoy these experiences, which leads me to believe that, before really getting to know of him more, like, I wouldn't say we know each other very well, but I've had a few conversations. Beforehand, I would have been like, no, he's going to go pro. There's no reason for him not to. Like, I think it makes a lot of sense. Where financially, yes, I mean, financially, he should go pro right now. Like, he shouldn't run another race before going pro. He would make a ton of money right now if he just went pro right now. But I think he'll probably go to college, because that interpersonal touch, and making sure that you're continuing to have fun, is where I think going to college for a year is going to be important. I mean, he takes his academics very seriously. He's on these academic boards, and I think 4.0 or pretty dang close to it as a student. So I'm sure he's going to want to be able to get his degree and go to a school that's going to allow him to do that as well, and then still be able to have that college experience for at least one season. And where could he potentially go? I feel Florida is like the best place for him to potentially go. I mean, him, potentially Jaden Horton Mims and Jake Odie Jordan. Like, I could not imagine a better team to be going into. That those 4x4s would be crazy in 2 years from now. So I will see what ends up happening for him. But I think that I my gut thinks that he'll probably go to college. And then the one other thing that I've been thinking of, like, after this race and hearing from some people that were there, that Quincy really has the opportunity to be bigger than Usain Bolt from a just branding standpoint. I mean, let me take a look at it right now. So right now, if you go onto Quincy's Instagram account, Quincy Wilson, who, keep in mind, is 17 years old, has 393,000 followers on Instagram, nearly 400K. He'll probably cross over the 500,000 mark by the end of the World Championships. He's getting posted on ESPN. ESPN just posted an image of him 2 hours ago when I'm recording this. It has already over 27,000 likes. Like, people love watching him race right now, and he definitely has the ability to be bigger and more popular than Usain Bolt. Like, people are tuning in just to watch him, and it's crazy how he's doing it, because he's just doing it so consistently. And I never would have thought, like, that, hey, there would be an opportunity for someone to legitimately be a new face of the sport that's 17 years old. And so now it's going to be difficult to maintain that, because we've seen a lot of prodigies in the sport, a ton of them. And the hit rate on prodigies has been very, very low. Now, what I will say is that none of these prodigies that we've seen have been this powerful or this good at this point. Like, they've had a couple good races, but none of them have been at this level this consistently, which is going to be a big factor when it comes to how he could potentially do moving forward here. So I think that, yeah, if he gets that Olympic gold in the 400 meters in 2028, if he could win a couple, maybe in 2027, if he gets a world championship gold in there, or if he eventually breaks the world record, man, I could see him potentially being bigger than where a Usain Bolt is now. Now, he has to dominate across a lot of events, and he has to continue and do really well. And I think in order for him to do that, he'd probably have to eventually do the 200 at some point. I think if he could do the 2 and the 4 at a very high level, and keep in mind, this could be 10 years down the line, like, because he's still 17 years old. So it could still be 10 years from now he starts doing the 200. But there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of chance, and I'm looking forward to seeing what his career is going to end up being. I hope that people don't turn on him, because that wouldn't be great. I mean, we saw it very recently with Noah Lyles, of where he was the most beloved person within track and field not too long ago, and very recently, people have turned on him of being the villain. Now, if he wants to embrace that, which it seems like, I'd be all in it, because I know he's really into the whole wrestling stuff and WWE, and knowing of, play a role. And if he sees, like, yo, if I could try and lean into this villain arc, there's a lot of, branding and a lot of possibilities for me, then fantastic. But it seems like for Quincy, at least, hey, he's definitely, a beloved guy right now, and would love to see that continue. So fantastic racing for Quincy, and looking forward to seeing what he'll end up doing at Worlds. I mean, he made the team and came in sixth last year. I don't think I see 4 people beating him to make to be able to make a team, or 3 people beating him to be able to make the team in USA's right now. Like, it's going to be real tough to keep that kid off the team. Going to be real tough, but we'll end up seeing what happens there. So a couple other things to get into from that competition, the Ed Murphy Classic. Let's go into the 200s. McKenzie Long. So McKenzie Long, she's obviously been away from the track for a little while, finally making her return this season. She had been dealing with some injuries. She ends up running the second fastest time in the world, the 200, with a time of 21.93. Also at the Ed Murphy Classic, was going neck and neck with, I think it was Favor Feely, right there, and she was winning out of the outside lane. Big victory for her. She's someone that the way that she runs, very powerful, very strong, fluid, and she's back to where she had kind of left off at the end of, when she eventually made the team for the Olympics. And it's going to be hard to keep her off the team, I think, in this in Team USA. I mean, Gabby Thomas obviously is going to be a big factor. Abby still is going through injuries, so I don't know how, like, where that's going to play out for her. Melissa Jefferson is going to be a big time factor. I think those are the two biggest people that will be there, and then it's McKenzie Long. I mean, I don't know what other person you would put ahead of Gabby and Melissa. Yeah, we know what they can do. We've seen them a lot. After that, who's beating her? I don't see anyone else in the world right now that's beating McKenzie Long outside of those two potentially. So she's a really good position to make this team and potentially go really far. And one of my favorite athletes as well. Been a huge fan of hers since the college days. She actually even did the Instagram takeover back when she was at Ole Miss for the national championship. So big fan of McKenzie Long. Excited to see how she ends up taking the stage there. So good work to her. And overall, great weekend for track and field. We saw a lot of big times drop, and looking forward to seeing how this is going to play into the Diamond League coming up, and then eventually USA's and other championship races. So we'll look into those next week. Hopefully we will have Noah Williams back, so he'll be making his grand return. But overall, great competitions. Looking forward to seeing what's going to be in the future. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Have a good one. Peace.